Will AI take my job? Hi, I'm Dolapo, and since 2016, I've been actively building and passively consulting on software products in the retail, e-commerce, and SaaS industries. My mission is simple: to empower the young African workforce for the new world of artificial intelligence. Now, that's a question on the minds of everyone, especially knowledge workers. Now, let me make a quick distinction here. Who is a knowledge worker and who isn't a knowledge worker? Now, I'm sure you know the woman down your street who sells akara is not worried about AI taking her job. The driver of the bus you take from work to home every day is also not worried about AI taking his job. One more person, the bricklayer, the carpenters who come to work on buildings, they are also not worried about AI taking their jobs. The people who worry are the knowledge workers. And knowledge workers are people who work in spaces where they need to creatively solve problems. Now, if you're still wondering, am I a knowledge worker? I think we can use 3 rubrics to determine that. Number 1, your job, does it require a higher educational degree? First degree, second degree, master's, PhD, whatever it is. Is it a high-paying job compared to what the national average in terms of income is? And also, does your job require some level of critical thinking, synthesis, and creativity? If it falls into one of multiple of this rubric, most likely you are working a knowledge job. Now, typically, knowledge jobs work around 3 domains, and I'll break this down. There is first the execution domain skills. Then there is strategy, and finally, people. So let's talk about execution. Execution for a lecturer is physically going into a classroom to teach students a course for an hour or an hour 30 minutes. Execution for a salesperson is making calls to prospects or going over to their offices and trying to close the deal. Execution for a secretary is sitting down, putting together some papers and putting them all together in a way that makes sense for everyone across the organization to use. The crux of it is that execution is the final phase of your job, and oftentimes your KPIs are tied to you executing. Now, moving on to the second level, it's strategy. And strategy is a step above execution. And one way you'd easily understand the difference between strategy and execution is to know what the difference is between a senior member of the team and a junior member of the team. Most times, you find out that the junior members of the team tend to do more of execution, less of strategy, whilst the senior members are left to think about, this is the direction that we should go, and then everyone executes in that direction. So strategy would be sitting down to say, what are the top 3 tasks that we should be doing today? What customer focus should we have for the next month? How should we plan our roadmap for the next 2 quarters? Those are strategic tasks, those are strategic skills that are being used in the workplace. Now, the final domain skill is what I call the people skills, which is how are you able to communicate with everyone within the team that you are working with. So whilst I've talked about execution skills, strategy skills, and people skills, the real fact is the lines are actually blurry in practice. You can do tasks that seem like they are just purely execution, but they also have a people component to it or a strategy component to it. So what does this have to do with AI taking jobs? The fact is, AI is very likely to eat up jobs from these 3 domains, starting from the bottom to the top: execution, strategy, and people. And I'm arranging it that way because it's very easy for AI to take away some execution parts of our job. If you have a knowledge job where you are gathering data, for example. There are a lot of bots and AI agents right now that you can simply prompt and let them loose on the internet, and they would gather the data that you need accurately. So this would mean the execution part of that particular role, data gathering, can be eliminated totally using AI. The strategy, however, is a little more nuanced. AI cannot be fully trusted to make judgment calls and to make decisions yet. And that is why a lot of businesses still rely on human in the loop to think through a problem, figure out how you want to solve that problem. Only then do you bring in an AI agent to do the execution part. A lot of roles, as it is today, still require a human to be in that loop and do the strategy part of it. And then there's finally the people domain part. Now, as at the time of making this video, AI is not yet sufficiently advanced to replace the people domain skills. Yes, there are fake AI images, fake AI videos all over the internet that makes us question what is real, what is true, what can we trust. But if you approach your job from this perspective, execution, strategy, and people, and understand that AI will eat it up from the bottom, what this means is that going forward, people skills and strategy skills become more important in your industry. As execution roles are gradually being replaced with AI agents, companies will start looking towards people who have more of the strategy skills. Can you think strategically around where the business is going? Can you figure out what the industry is saying over the next few quarters, over the next few years? Can you communicate with the people that you work with? Can you communicate with our users clearly? Those are the skills that will become very important in the coming years. So, if you're worried, will AI take my job? The answer lies in the domain skills that you have today, the ones you're working on to acquire tomorrow, and the skills you want to improve on. Now, let me know what you think about in the comment section, and don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.